Good day to you, depending on where you're watching the video from. Alright, so I'm going to be sharing today on some of my profound experiences about writing professors. When should you start writing professor? When is the right time? And also, how do you write convincing mails that professors will get to respond to? Okay, so I was still at the University of Debrecen in Hungary, in Europe, when I started writing professors. That was about a year before I finished school. Of course, my second year in school, that was in June, during the summer then, so June of that year. That was June 2020. And I was going to be resuming for fall 2021. I started writing professor the end of that year, pushing different mails out. Of course, that extended through my summer writing professors, expressing my interest. And one of the things is people would respond. Some of the professors would answer you. Some of them would not respond to you. That's something you would have to deal with, and of course some of them would give you very great response. So for example, one of the things that you need to do is reaching out to people to guide you. Of course, when I started out, I reached out to someone who I believe he's going to be a doctor's son, so I decided to call him Dr. Kimberly, that's his name, but he's currently still on his PhD. So I reached out to him and he sent me a profound list of all the schools in the US that actually offers my program, my program of interest. I was just interested in learning what are resources there. And of course that's what I'm doing currently at Iowa State. So I reached out to him, and that kind of list helped me, guided me in tracking schools to write to and checking what universities to deal with and all. Now, some of the schools that I sent to, they responded to me, and some of the professors responded while some did not respond. For example, look at this professor now. He's a professor in Purdue University. So I wrote after writing her, she said, "Hello, thanks for your email. I'm unfortunately not accepting new students for next year at this time, but wishing you the best in your search." You know, for some people it felt like, that's pretty too heavy. You mean you're writing? I think this was July, 21st of July. So I was already writing her for so she's like, what? She said, I'm not accepting students at this time of the year for because one of the critical things you should have to your mail is, okay, you're applying for 2021. So on the mail I had included 2021 prospective student, Doctor of Philosophy in Cultural and Biological Engineering. That was the program where I wanted to apply to through her. Of course, in the area of land and water resources where she is operating, some also could refer to it as soil and water engineering, as the case may be. So that was the way I wrote a lot of people. Another response said, "Dear Oloye, thank you for your inquiry. I'm not taking new students at this time." You know, people that respond to you, they are better than people that don't respond. Another professor said, "I don't have openings." You know, if you get mails like that, well, you would think it should probably demoralize you, but it encourages people more, because when I get response from people, it's pretty much better than when you don't get response at all. So irrespective of maybe a professor responded to you or not, just ensure that you keep up that spirit alive. But the best time to start writing professor is a year earlier than when you'll be resuming. For some, they are lucky that they started 3 months that time and they were still lucky to find professors and all. But it's always better for you to write heavily to professors. The interesting thing for me in my own case was that the professor that I currently work with, she was part of those people I had written earlier, but she didn't respond to my mail. But of course, I had to put my application into the school. That's another series entirely that I probably have to talk about, applying to the school and what you need to know, what you need to do, and things like that. And of course, when I applied to the school, she was the one that eventually that wrote a mail to me, and I responded to her, and that was how the conversation started. But of course, I got a professor through the series of mails I was sending to professor that was ready to work with me. But I just felt this offer was just the best for me, and that was what God wanted me to do at this time. So there are many more mails from professors. You know, I get alarmed when people write me and they're asking me, oh, I want to apply to schools in the US or in Canada, and I kind of ask them, have you started writing professors? And probably it's just some months to them graduating and they've not started writing any professor. I feel, no, you should have started way more earlier. The interesting thing is it keeps you on the safe side. For example, I had already gotten admission, gotten my scholarship settled as of March of 2021, which is some months into graduating. So I could give myself fully into my academics. I could spend all my time to do other things because now I know what is next, where I'm going to, and many more things like that. So that's just the essence of course, with God, you can always put your egg in one basket. But then, if you've not heard from God, it's better you spread your applications, spread your rights or sending mails to people, spread it, so as to reach out to as many as possible. I'm still going to pick some other ones that probably responded to me. And I feel another thing you should do is that you should write a graduate coordinator as well. I had the very great conversation with some graduate coordinator as well. One professor as well said, oh, I currently do not have an opening. He said, good luck. So I feel those are still better, the ones that respond to you. The professors that won't respond to you are probably way more higher than those that would actually respond to you. So you shouldn't be surprised with that. So, and that shouldn't in any way affect the way you respond to them. The professor that actually gave me a positive response that we actually got speaking, and eventually I was supposed to work with him, but got something better to work with. When I wrote him, what he just told me was that he said, oh, I feel that your profile aligns well with what I'm working on. And he said, okay, you just apply to the school. And that was how I started on that journey as well. So there are going to be challenges writing professors. If you need templates and how to get that done, just do what to comment on the mail, comment on the video, and I'm more than happy to kind of provide a template for you to use in writing professors. But it's important you start very early. Now that I'm working very closely to some of those professors, I understand why they don't get response to mail. Okay, so for example, my professor has both administrative role, academic engagement, personal growth, and also research. So quite a lot of students she had to mentor. So I understand why, because many times when I get to see my professor, I see trying to get through a different series of meals just as to get to my own meal that she was not meant. So it's just like that for many people. So they are busy, and so when they are not actively looking for students, or maybe they didn't make an opening for that, so the best thing for them to do is to ignore it. And it doesn't mean that you are not qualified enough, okay? So you don't need to give yourself that trademark that you're probably not qualified. You are qualified, but probably you're not. Probably the professor doesn't need a student at this time, or you also need to work on some other thing for yourself. So it's a rigorous process, and of course it requires you to be patient enough to go through the process. But one thing that is certain is that if we have done it, then it's not something difficult. It's achievable for anyone. You just keep going, be resilient, be determined, and your success is guaranteed. So looking forward to your good news when you get that feedback from the professor that, wow, I'm happy to work with you, and I would really love to welcome you in my lab and things like that. Alright, so I'd like to congratulate you in advance. Thank you.